So welcome everyone. I'm Jenny, for those of you, of course, who know, and I'm a psychic clairvoyant reader. I do past life Akashic records, animal communication, spiritual esoteric teacher, meditation teacher, and so on. And I do a lot of readings for those of you who know me. And it was brought up that I should do a past life reading here on YouTube, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what to expect, because this is going to be on social media live. There's certain things that I might hold back on if it's really deeply personal, right? So just to let you know. But I'm just going to give you guys an idea of what a past life reading is. And I have someone here, Thomas, who I'm very grateful to be able to chat with, and look back into his Akashic past life records. So thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Jenny, for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. So I wanted to just give you guys just a little bit of an insight without going into full explicit details, what past life reading is. So whenever I look into a past life reading, I look at the person's level of consciousness, their soul, to see where they're at, and to tap back into their records that goes back into other lifetimes. Because whenever we do a past life reading, it really gives you an understanding of why you're here, why you were born into a certain country, culture, family, why we have these certain connections with people, why we have come back. And most of us are old souls. So it's like if a baby's been born and such, I can tell you right away if they're an old soul. And it's not because of like their age. Let's say I might just say to somebody, well, you're an old soul. And they might be like, well, I'm like 50 or like I'm 40 or whatever age they are. But I'm like, no. It's your energy from other lifetimes. So we come back into different lifetimes. So before we're born, we have a meeting with our soul group, ascended masters, guides, gods. And it's like we sit around a table. So just kind of vision like a big table. There's you, and we have a meeting with our angels and, angelic guides and so on. And we're like, you know what? I want to come back into this lifetime to clear certain karmic situations or to resolve situations from that lifetime or that lifetime with this person and that person, so I can heal myself, move on, learn lessons, and so on and so on and so on. So this is why certain people have very painful lives. I mean, I came back into this lifetime myself to do a lot of clearing and so on, but whenever you get stuck and you're like, why is my life so painful? Why are all of these things happening? It's because we have clearings to do. We have situations to resolve with certain people. Like if you look back and you're like, why am I so drawn to this career? Or why do I have a fear of flying, let's say? So if you had like a fear of flying, it very well could be like you were in a plane crash in another lifetime. Maybe you were like a pilot or a passenger and you died on a plane from a plane crash or something. So that's why certain fears, people have a fear of all different kinds of things. So whatever your fears are, if it's a spider, it could be anything. There's reasons for that. So some people have the past life regressions and so on and so on and so on. I like to stay more present because if we tap back into somebody's past life, let's say, just for an example, let's say if you were killed by like a lion, right? For an example. For me to bring you back into that moment, you're not going to want to go there. You're not going to want to be there because that can be more detrimental than anything, which can bring up a lot of more fears and trauma and fear and trauma in the body. So there's certain things that I don't do past life regressions anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore for that reason, right? Because it can leave somebody in not a good headspace. So we're going to tap into Thomas today to look at his past life Akashic records. And also, too, whenever you pass on, whenever I've had many near-death experiences myself. So whenever we pass on, we're brought and shown our life of, especially, certain people that we've hurt. So you get shown, let's say, you really hurt this person and all of these ways. And that's why at certain times you very well could have a dream of a loved one or friend or whoever it is, and they want to say, I'm sorry. And it's real. Like when you have a dream of somebody if it's family or friend, and they come back in a dream, that's them. That's actually them. But especially pay attention to somebody who wants to apologize to you, because they are now showing what they did to you and how they made you feel. So we get shown our life and all of these things, our life review, tapping back into the Akashic records and so on, different lifetimes. And it can be very emotional. We can even be brought into a healing room depending on our life. So I was even brought back, I'm just going to say this for a reason, I was brought back in this lifetime, actually. It was a very profound time of my life, into a healing room by this man. I could literally hear him and see him. And I was on a table laying down with my back exposed. My back was black and blue, like black and blue, from different traumas and hurt and such I've been through. And it was like, the only way I can say it was like he was cupping. So for those of you who have had acupuncture, it's like he was cupping, and he goes, we got to start healing some of this for you in this lifetime. This stems back to another lifetime, other lifetimes in this lifetime. And it was connected to a near-death experience I had when I saw Jesus, actually Christ, standing right in front of me with that profound message he gave me. So this is all combined, and we all have our own path. And I'm saying this for a reason for you, Thomas, just because of the different lifetimes you have had. So, you go back into, you're a very old soul. Most of us are very old souls. There's some people that are newer. Like I've met people who have been, this is the first lifetime they've been born here right on Earth. Earth is one of the most painful planets to be on, because this is where we learn painful lessons. This is when we do karmic healing. We pay karmic debts. Karmic debts are not like money, let's say. Karmic debts are, things that we've done in a past life and so on. So with your life, the way it is, because I know Thomas, he's been a client of mine for a while now. I'm always very grateful for any and all of my clients. But your lifetimes, we go back as a male and female. I'm seeing you even going back into there's so many lifetimes. So like just one of your lifetimes, it's back in Germany. I'm literally seeing you, Germany, Austria, Vienna, and I don't know if you've seen, the movie, The Sound of Music. Have you ever seen that movie?
Sounds familiar. I probably have.
Okay. So Sound of Music goes way back in Germany and Berlin with the war and so on. And long story short, the captain, he doesn't want to go back into the war. So he takes his family, like big family, and he goes to the mountains and escapes from the war, from the Nazis and so on and so on. He climbs the mountains to get to a safe place. It's a true story. You'd probably like, it's like a musical, but it's a very good story. It's a true story, by the way. So the reason I brought up this movie is because I do literally see you being in the war with Germany. I'm seeing you all lined up, with, the soldiers and so on. And very similar to you, you had a family. And you've had, like a few different tragic lifetimes, and there's a lot of tragic with your children, by the way. So back during this time, you were married, you had your family, and so on and so on. And you wanted to escape, but you couldn't. That's why I brought up the Sound of Music. You wanted to leave that. You didn't want to be a part of that. You didn't really connect, but you connected with that lifestyle. So whenever you would go home, of course, your wife would be like, I don't want you here, all of these things, and so on and so on and so on. So this was like, you've had a couple of lifetimes, like you have that European energy to you, like very, very European energy. I'm also seeing you like way over and even in Romania, even over to that energy, like all over that area. And you've met, one of your wives in another lifetime. Whenever you were wounded, you were in the hospital, you were like, it wasn't really like a hospital, it was like a medic place, really. And this is where you met your wife. She took care of you, and so on and so on. And I also see that you very well could connect with her again in this lifetime, this current lifetime. So if you take a look at your career now, with like armed forces, military, like all of this energy you're in right now, this is why you got very drawn to all of this. Like if I said, Thomas, well, you've got to leave your career right now. You just got to go work in Walmart or to be like a dentist or something. You're going to be like, well, I'm not drawn to that. So this is why it's like when you look back onto what drew you to this, because you have that protection energy, because you've always protected your family. Like you've literally had, different children in another life. Like I literally see you going back into another lifetime as being a woman, because we do come back in other lifetimes as a male and as a female. We have our feminine side and our male side. This is why we have the yin and yang balance, the positive and the negative, the male and the female. So we use our male side, both male and female. It's like if somebody started walking over me or treat me bad, the male dominance would come out. Like, who do you think you are? Where if we're like too dominant, somebody might say, okay, you really need to cool it down. So this is where that emotional side comes out, the emotion, which is the female side. So there's that balance. So when you were walking on the road, another lifetime, like it was like down a country road. And, I just literally hearing like Romania, somewhere over like around there. You're walking down the road, like a country road or something, like, and you had a baby, you had a child. It was a girl, a little baby girl, and you were like really, really trying to protect this baby, but you didn't want anybody to see you had a baby. So you'd have this child all blanketed up because you were scared that somebody was going to take this child away from you. Oh. Because your husband at that time had got taken away. Your husband, you lost your husband at that time. And it's ironic because 2 other lifetimes you've had boys. And you're that father protector, of course. And, your son, you've had 2 sons in other lifetimes as well. They've both been killed. One of them was killed and one of them died from being ill. Like you were trying to do everything you could to bring your son back to life. So I don't know if you've had that feeling or just somehow feeling like a little boy. This little boy is still very much around you. So I don't know if you've had any kind of sensations or, I kind of feel like I have like a presence around me, but it's not like this presence. It's kind of like you're looking down a little bit. Have you ever noticed that at all?
Sometimes.
Yeah. The little boy, like really pay attention because he's still very much with you in the spirit world. He's actually looking after you, looking out for you. You know, like our guides and everything, they can be anybody. They don't have to just be like our angels and our guides and such like that. People from our other lifetimes are very much still with us. You know, and some of them are over you watching you, but I keep seeing this little boy. Like you know, because I'm literally hearing like daddy, all of those things. So whenever you're having that kind of weird feeling or sensation, you know, you can say, you know, can you give me a physical sign that you're with me, that you're here? And then you surrender it. And you'll be surprised because you very well could then hear, like, all of a sudden, like a child laughing or crying. And you're like, where's that coming from?
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, it's like all of these other lifetimes, they're all connected into this one. So, you know, this is why it's like when we get born, family's very karmic, for good or bad, you know what I mean? So the bigger the family, you know, whenever there's somebody that has bigger families, there's more karma to clear. There's more lessons to learn. You know, we can even have like be the only child and still, of course, have karmic lessons. We all have stuff to learn and everything like that. So even if you take a look at like even with your family and such like that, how protective you are, like, you know, like with your mom or something like that, if you knew like your mom was, you'd be like, oh my gosh, right? Like, of course, you know, normally, but it would affect you a little bit more.
So that child, that's you say that's around me all the time. So if I were to have a kid in this lifetime, would that be him, or would he just stay as a guide?
It really depends on, you know, this is why I'm saying this now. This is why I purposely brought up this little boy now, right? Like whenever you know, you get married and all of those things, you know, and when you want to start your family and so on, what I would do is take a look at it during that time because you'll remember it. Like it'll remember you. You can say to your little boy, I might even get a name. You know, I don't know what to expect, right? You can say, "Can you come back? I want to see you." And if he decides to come back, he would be fine. He wouldn't get taken away from you in this lifetime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So he's very prominent. You know, it's like the paranormal. Let's say whenever if you watch these ghost movies or whatever, and we hear different voices or things like that, you know, it shows you the spirit world is very much still real, of course, you know, and all of that. So it's very connected to, you know, like your work. Like I'm even literally seeing, like even with you, you know, when you're a little boy, like a little, like, I don't know, could have been like 4 years old. Your father, in that lifetime, by the way, had a gambling problem, drinking, gambling. I don't see a mother around, like your mother had left, like, I don't feel a mother. I'm just seeing the father energy around you. And because of his addictions with gambling and alcohol and such like that, he left you at a place, you know, just stay here. He never came back. So, you know, it's like one of the Oliver Twist, you know, in a way, as I call it. So here you are as this little child, you know, like left alone. So this is when you started building your courage. This is when that warrior within you started getting built. You know, like look at like the current energies all around you now, Green Beret, military, all of that kind of such. You know what I mean? And so on. So this is how it's like that strength and that courage. And you're like, wow, I'm really pulled to this. Yeah. Because you know what it was like to defend yourself. You know what it was like to having no choice but to, like build this incredible strength in you and to want to be able to protect other people.
Makes sense why that's what I want to do now still.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why it's like, our family can say, well, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer, just for an example. And people are like, I don't want to do that. You have to do that. I'm not saying that's happened to you, no. But this is why it's like I always say to people, when you follow what you're passionate about, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what it is. This is when your soul from other lifetimes, because we're the same soul, right? We're just come back into this lifetime as a male or a female into a different culture, family, religion, country, and so on. But we carry forth all of our other lifetimes with us into the same soul. That's why if you take a look at like even television shows like talent shows where here's this 4-year-old child, 5-year-old child singing opera, it's like, how is that possible? Right? That's why. Because another lifetime ago, they very well could have been a very famous opera singer or sang. You're the same soul.
Makes sense.
So when you meet people, doesn't matter like who they are, what age they're at, and you're like, I feel as if I know that person somehow, but I just can't place it. I just can't place it. So whenever you're feeling that, that's a sign and an indication that you go back into another lifetime with that person. This person could come back, because we meet people for many different reasons. So you could come back and meet people that are going to help you move forward. You can meet people that can teach you karmic lessons, like in a very bad way. So this is why it's really important to really pay attention to your intuition, how you feel when you meet somebody, because you might be like, I don't know, because you're very intuitive as it is, right? So, it's like really pay attention to, I really feel a nice connection with this person, or, oh my God, I don't know, there's something off. And circle that something off, especially with the work that you're doing and that you're going to expand even more so in. Right? So, because I'm also seeing you way back into like on a horse, like Sahara Desert. I'm just literally like, what is it called? I might pronounce this wrong, but Tunisia. It's like the desert. Let you see the horse, like the Middle Eastern. You know what I mean? You're out, like watching one of those movies, like Lawrence of Arabia or something like that. And you help someone who was wounded. You literally saw like another horse, like laying down, and you're like, oh my gosh, like the horse was hurt. The horse was like, there's no water, and you found, because you were following, you found this person who was on the horse, and you literally brought this person back, like lifted him on your horse. There's not much you could do for this other horse that was laying down, and you took him back and you helped him.
Wow.
So I don't know if you're drawn to deserts or that, but I'm literally seeing like the sand, like not like desert like Arizona. We're talking like desert Saudi Arabia, all in that sand and so on and so on. And you were young, actually. You weren't like, you very well could have been like 16, 17, around that time.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
Yeah. But it's kind of like that, way back then, of course. We learned from, your father was very, like, I'm seeing the swords and such like that. So it's like your father was another father. It wasn't that same father, wealthy, um, had like, kind of like the jewels in a way, held on to that very tightly. And you would wander off on your own, like your father would be busy with the other guys and stuff like that. And you were like that curious person that was like, yeah, my father's here, but I'm going to kind of go exploring on my own. Like, what's over there? Like, what's on that side? Right. That warrior, like that question.
Oh no, I said that's accurate. Yeah, that sounds like me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that warrior. I mean, like even me, I travel by myself. You know what I mean? Well, how can you travel by yourself? And I'm like, I do all the time. I don't wait for the right people to go. If I want to go, I go. Right? So you might even notice that whenever you go somewhere, you could travel on your own as well. It's like, yeah, I can go there. I can go there. Some people like to have people around them or somebody or a group or such. You can be like, yeah, I can do that. I can. I'm also hearing Amsterdam, like Amsterdam. Again, Europe, of course. And it's like Amsterdam, of course. The red light district, all of that. You know what I mean? Every place has its own energy, and so on and so on. And you actually like went back. It's like that. Feminine energy you had. You were male and you want it to be more female. And it was, of course, way back then unheard of, right? So you were really struggling back then, like really, really struggling back then. You had that femininity in you and such like that. You just really, really wanted to be yourself. So this is, and you kept on getting stuck down because you kept on hiding that part of yourself. So again, this lifetime you've come back to really be who you are. It's like, yeah, I'm drawn into this work for protection and all of these things. I'm not going to hide who I was. Not that, that's going on now, but you know what I mean? These are other different lifetimes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, that's unique.
Yeah. And it's interesting because whenever we meet people, as I mentioned, that could be anywhere, it could be across the world, it could be right here wherever you are. You know what I mean? And you feel that connection to it. It's real, especially with the work that you get involved with and such like that. You're dealing with a lot of like enemies, let's say, realistically. You know what I mean? So when you would really get out there, especially whenever you start traveling, even more so, this is really important. And I'm sure you're also trained this to be on the guard, to be on the lookout. You know what I mean? All of those different things. And your intuition, it's really important to really listen to your intuition. I mean, anybody should do that, but for you, especially more in your job, because other lifetime, even before, you had these trust issues with people because of your dad leaving you at this place, abandoning you, as a child. So it very well, that's why certain times we can get triggered with anything. And we're like, why am I getting triggered with this or that? That was like so long ago, let's say, because there's certain memories, even from other lifetimes, that we continue to heal from. We have that Chiron energy, which is the old wounded healer, right? That brings up our wounds. But during certain times, it can also bring up past life wounds that we still need to heal from. And that can also draw you to a certain person that you have to face to face with, where somebody very well could like insult you, say something rude or insensitive, and you could get very triggered all of a sudden, and that the dominant side goes up, and who do you think you are type thing. Or you can have more compassion whenever you see even small, like children, even, if you, like when certain kids cry, of course, some people can be like, oh, shut up, you drive me crazy. Where some people, it can trigger them to be like, the mother in you, that motherly side in you, that caretaker, where you're like, I want to go help that child. That's not okay. Like you literally on a boat. I'm seeing you like on a boat. I'm hearing New York coming through as well. Something with the boat. It's kind of like the Titanic, but it wasn't the Titanic. When something like the boat started to go down, and you were the one that was grabbing children, like helping children. I mean, you'd help people, but like children more so. It's like, go stay there, go stay here, go stay here, go be here, go be here. So it's like, that steel in you, kind of, again, that, the Green Beret, Navy SEAL, all of that energy, military, wanting to save people. And I'm literally seeing you in the water. It's like all of this strength, because whenever we go into a certain zone of survival, we either like sink or we swim for our life. So you're the one that was in this cold Atlantic, it was the Atlantic water, cold Atlantic water, saving children. You didn't make it, by the way. You pushed yourself too hard, but for you weren't looking at that. You were looking at, I have to save these people. So you were going after the children first to save, like people, children, women, and then men type thing. But you were more focused on the children.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Because that's another reason why I want to do what I want to do, because I want to save children, the ones that are really, like the ones that are really like out there that people don't know about. Yeah. That's
Okay. Well, there you go. That makes sense. We didn't talk about that before. I don't remember at all.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's why, you know what I mean? Because it's like whenever, we have been through, like trauma, like our lives shape us up who we are today. Of course, that's why with me, that's why I do the work I do, for many reasons. Our experiences shape us up to who we are today, and it's also connect with our past life as well. So it's like subconsciously, it's like, you know what? I don't want to see that child left alone. I don't want to like see that guerrilla warfare. What is it? You know what I mean?
Oh, guerrilla warfare.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something with that. Like the UN peace. What's that?
Unconventional warfare?
Crimes conventional?
No, were you trying to say like something along the lines of unconventional warfare?
It's something like guerrilla, like kind of like warfare. It's almost like I'm seeing you like it's like that focused, like focused. Do you ever see the television show SEAL Team?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You know how those guys are very focused and they, you know what I mean? Boom, 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 boom. Right. Like my ex, he used to do all of this kind of stuff. Right. So they'd go into certain places and, do what they have to do. So it's like, I'm literally seeing you like, it's kind of like that. Cause we go into a certain zone, like you go into that certain zone. I mean, and you know what zone you have to be in to focus on that and everything involved and nothing else is important but that type thing, right? So
Right.
you very well, it's like the UN, like peacekeeping, all of that too. You very well could get more drawn into, and we're very much involved with that, like very much involved with that.
Hmm.
um and it's like that. Gosh, what's that from? There's a movie like, there's like blood diamonds, but there was like Hotel Rwanda. There we go. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
Probably. Maybe.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of movies on younger.
exactly right. That Hotel Rwanda is with like Thailand. Because, it's like, because I'm just seeing those hatchets. You know what I mean? It's like, here you are going through like a jungle or something. And it's like the hatchets, you're clearing your way from like the jungle and the vines and all of those kinds of things. I don't recommend that this lifetime for you. But you did go through that, and it very well could have been Samila, all of that. You know how I said like that Tunisia desert or whatever like that, but it goes way over into like Somalia. I'm not pronouncing these names right. I see it in my mind being spelt, but I'm not pronouncing it right. Like the hatchets and stuff like that. And then there was like these villages that you had to go in and dissemble, like dissemble, meaning people, and their setups that were hurting other people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like a Green Beret.
Yeah, it could have been. It's all similar connected. Like I literally keep on hearing like John F. Kennedy, like the one that got shot. There's something that he was like supported, or was something that it was something military or something in that he supported, because I'm literally seeing that like you're going to New York. It's like, remember when I said you're on the boat, right? And then you drowned, basically, saving the kids and all of these things. Similar to Titanic, but not Titanic. But you couldn't make it to New York. You were going to New York to pursue a new life and all of these things for yourself. But there's something with JFK connected with military. Like I actually knew 6 weeks before like JFK Jr. was going to die. I circled it on the calendar and I saw a plane going down some significant political figure. I wasn't sure exactly who it was, and then I heard it was him. Because I hear certain dates and then I circle it on my calendar, and then something happens during that time, right? So certain things like that, but I keep seeing the 23rd. I don't know why. We're not going to go into that, but I hearing the 23rd being circled as soon as I mentioned that. But this is why it's like really important for you. This is why, to really pay attention to your intuition. We can meet all different kinds of people and such like that. Like I've seen all my past lives and everything. And whenever I meet somebody, I know if their past life connected or not and the reasons why. So, your intuition is getting stronger and stronger. So whenever you start meeting different people, you'll see how this goes. You're going to have that more so familiarity, because once I start tapping back into past lives of people, I actually kind of open up a portal in a way for them to see a little bit more, meaning that whenever you meet certain people, you're going to kind of have that, even more so stronger.
Right. That's interesting. So as far as the guides you mentioned, like the little child,
Yeah.
we do have multiple guides, correct?
Oh, yes. Yes, we have many different angels and guides. Like some people are like, I call upon Archangel Michael, let's say, or whoever. Oh, that's a bunch of crap. It's not, believe me. Like they are very, very real. So if you take a look at, let's say if you're going through like a really hard time, or like a challenge, and you're like, you're like so like distraught, and you're giving up on life, and you're like, oh my God, you're in tears, or very emotional or something. And then all of a sudden you start calming down, right? And you're like, how did that happen when I was so like emotional and all of those things? Those are your guides. That can be your guides. That can be your, your angels. That can also be, your loved ones, or even friends, or even people from your other lifetime that are calming you down.
Interesting.
Yeah, because when you're open to that, it's like the spirit world is like, oh, you know what? Thomas is open to get signs. So we're going to start giving him signs. So, it's like, Archangel Michael or dad or somebody, let's say a friend or a pet even. Pets come in and they can save you. They can do all kinds of things.
Wow. Well, I've always wondered about that.
Yeah, you can call upon anybody. Like if you're like, who do I call upon? You're not sure, right? I just say spirit. Sometimes it's easier just to say spirit because it's like, whoever is out there, I need help with this. Can you please give me a sign? Can you please give me more of a physical sign? Can you give me confirmation? Like all of these things. It's like, let's say if I was looking at dating somebody, let's say, for instance, I would be like, okay, spirit, please show me all the red flags. Not the good things, because the good things are fine. But please show me all the red flags that I should pay attention to with this person.
Mm.
And you have to be open to that, because you could meet somebody and you could be like, oh my God, that's my person. And then whenever we get shown red flags, we don't want to see that. So we push it aside. The red flags very well could be karmic from another lifetime, because there's different people coming back into your life in this lifetime, romantic relationships, because you still have some deep karmic situations to clear. That's why it can be really painful and hard to, let somebody go, especially a romantic relationship, because we feel that connection. That has to be my person, my twin flame soulmate, because I have such this strong connection and I can't let this person go. That can be very karmic in not a good way. But we all have our own journey and our lessons to learn through karmic situations. And it's really important to clear karmic situations. There's different people that I've met and I'm like, wow, he's got it going on, But then I'm like, that's not going to work. Or I start seeing red flags and I'm like, I'm not going through that. I'm not going to put myself through that. So I immediately start reading into who they were in a past life. And I'm like, I'm not getting involved. I'm walking the opposite direction. So this is why it's important to know these things. Sometimes we have to repeat it, go through our karmic lessons with certain people until we're like, I can't do this anymore. This person has hurt me enough, or it's not working, or things like that. And then when you let go, it can be harder. It can be more painful and emotional, because we're like, I feel that strong connection with them. Yes, because when it's somebody from our past lifetime, it's harder to let them go. Because we feel that.
So when you mentioned earlier about something between the boat and JFK, would you say something like I worked under JFK, or maybe in
There
the
was
military?
something there. No, way back then, JFK wasn't around. But there's something more connected. I don't know what it is. Something with New York, JFK with you. JFK, somehow was connected to like the work that you're really drawn into, military beret, SEAL, all of that kind of stuff, all of that type of energy. I don't know what it is. I just kept on hearing this, but you were coming over on the boat to go to New York to start like a new life and all of these things. It wasn't working where you're at, and it was very well, you've grown up more so on your own than being with a large family, so to speak. So this is why you're very kind of like that independent, and you can do certain things more out of, the strength and the courage and the stuff like that you have. Mm. So, like just the thought of New York for you could trigger you somehow, and you might be like, I don't know why, but I can get triggered a little bit for some reason or something. Certain things could trigger you. But like, how are you on boats? Like, are you okay, like on boats?
I haven't really been like on I guess not like a big boat or a big ship or anything, but just like a regular, like, I guess like a firefighter boat.
Oh,
Nothing crazy.
firefighter. Oh, there you go. Firefighter boat, right? Like, that would make sense if you're on a firefighter boat, of course, right? Because of the work.
Yeah.
And the firefighter, of course, would be all about work. It would be all about that energy of training, helping, and so on and so on. Like if you were on like a cruise ship, let's say, or like somebody's boat, it could trigger you a little bit more. Or because the boat you're on way back then, it was a bigger boat, like think of the Titanic, but it wasn't that luxurious. It wasn't like a big luxury boat like that, right? The boat was, old and such like that, but it was just, kind of destined to have problems, of course, but yeah, so you could get more triggered on that, because on that boat way back then, it wasn't like you're on like a fighter boat. You were just on a public type boat. I mean, I wouldn't be on a firefighter boat myself, right? Unless somebody says, hey, you want to come along with us? So for you being on that firefighter boat, it's like you're facing your fears in the water with emotions. Water represent emotions. So if you take a look at when you're around water with your emotions, right? Take a look at the water. If I said to you, Thomas, how do you look at that water? No matter if it's calm or a lake or tidal waves, you're like, you know what? It's really nice. You could see tidal waves and be like, wow, that's awesome. Or the water could be calm. You can be like, I don't know. Right? Shows you where your emotions are. And then it can also trigger you at times too. That's why people go to different countries, or places, and they're like, wow, I feel like I've been here before. Or why am I drawn all of a sudden to this culture or religion? I want to go there. So we go somewhere, let's say Egypt, let's say, wow, I feel like I've been here before. Like, I don't know why, because that's your past life coming back because you feel that familiarity. That's why certain people get drawn to certain religions and cultures, countries, certain things like that, because there's that memory there. Where if somebody said, oh yeah, I'm going to travel to this country, oh, I have no desire to go there. Where somebody's like, how could you not? And it's like, well, you go back another lifetime there. That's why you're pulled there and drawn there, right?
Right.
So, and sometimes we have to go back to that or different,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yes. So does this kind of give you more of an idea of past life with a better understanding? Because it helps you kind of get that understanding of who you are and why you're choosing certain careers and such like that. Like I've always, gone back, to my exes were military, all of that kind of such, right? I have a lot of clients in the military.
Yeah, it definitely helps me get a better understanding of why I want to do what I want to do, why I'm so drawn to it. Definitely, for sure.
Yeah, and it's like certain things, like your fear. I'm scared of flying, or like the spiders, as I mentioned, different fears. It's like some people can't wear like a tight shirt. You know what I mean, like a button-up shirt or a tie, because they're like, I can't breathe, and they very well could have got hung in another lifetime. Or their head cut off in another lifetime.
Right.
I don't see you going back into that, like into that era at all.
Right. Makes
Yeah.
you wonder.
Yeah. So just kind of like, it's almost like, it's like even your background's pretty cool. It's as soon as you put it up there, I actually had a flashback in another lifetime of yours. It's like the woodsy area, as I call it. Woodsy area could be forest, woods, or lots of trees and stuff like that. It's like that hunter. You go back into like hunting once upon another lifetime ago and such like that, like bow and arrow, all that kind of stuff. And I won't bring up too much, but there was somebody that you were with that actually got attacked by a bear. They didn't survive, but certain things like that I don't like to really bring up because it can trigger things, and then we can start having nightmares and all of those kinds of things, which can be very detrimental. right?
Understandable.
Yeah, yeah. You know, even walking into the woods for some people can't do, because woods and forest also says a lot. Walking into the, I mean, I always walk into the unknown myself, right? That's just me. But it's like certain people, if they go walking into the woods or the forest and such, it can scare them. They're like, you know, what's lurking behind here? You know, and it's not just because of some movie. It, you know, very well goes back into another lifetime of, you know, who's behind, you know, the woods. You know, like, is somebody going to come out and attack me and kill me? You know, from like a bow and arrow gun, or like, you know, just certain things like that.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Like some people have different types of fears, even fears that seem like you would never think is a fear.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, what? What?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it might be like like, what's wrong with you? Like, just certain things like that. But it's like, there's reasons for that. It's like, don't stop being a sissy. But it's like, you know what? There's reasons for that. That person, you know, there's certain people that won't even go around, like, put gas in their car because they very well could have got burnt alive. Um, you know, just certain things like that.
Hmm.
You know, we can face our fears. It can be very liberating, and so on and so on, like that as well. But it just really depends on the circumstances. But with the work that you've done in your other lifetimes, being that protector, coming back wanting to protect, it's very much because of, you know, the work you do. You know, now today, wanting to protect people, wanting to be of service, really wanting to make a difference with humanity, and righteousness, and all of those things. You know.
Right.
Yeah. So even, by the way, you know, even your, you know, like your, the background with the clouds, really look at the clouds as well. You know, when you're out and about, because you could very well be sitting back. There's messages and signs everywhere, everywhere. And you very well could be, you know, like, especially when you're like, I want to see these messages physically. So when you ask physically to see these messages, you very well could be seeing signs of, like, your son in the clouds. Oh my gosh, that looks like a little boy, or like, it's not just like a baby. You'd be like, wow, that's a boy. That's a, like, that's not like a girl. Ask, you know, that ask and you shall receive,
Yeah.
you know, and you can say, is there a message from you for me? You know, I always say physical, because physical is something physical. Like, you'll hear a baby crying, or you'll feel like that nudge. Like, I do feel that with him, that when you start kind of doing that, you might feel kind of like a tug on your hip, like, you know, your bottom of your shirt or something. And you're, you know, you're going to be kind of like, well, like, who's that? Like, and then you're going to be like, what? And then it might be like, oh, I wonder. So
Yeah, that's
that's
cool.
my dad. Like, I'm literally hearing, like, that's my dad.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
like,
so cool.
that's my dad. That's my dad. Like, he's pointing. That's my dad, right?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yes. So, any last questions as we wrap up here?
Uh, yeah, you got me on the spot. No, nothing. Well, I can guarantee I'll probably have a million of them once we're done here.
I know, right?
You know
Like,
how it is.
I know. You know, I just kind of go with the flow, go in the now, kind of just what brings up. Like, I have people say, what do I expect out of a reading? And I'm like, well, I have no idea. I never know what messages are going to come through at any time. So,
Right.
you know, and, you know, it's always awesome to see you and connect
Oh,
you. And
as
I
always.
thank you for doing this, you know. So if there is anybody else out there, by the way, who would like me to do a reading for you, and get it out there on YouTube and the platform, let me know. You know, you can always book a reading with me, soulworkwithjenny.com. And I read into your level of consciousness to see where you're at, and I combined everything with what I'm seeing. So, you know. definitely.
Awesome. Love it,
Yes,
Jenny. Thank you. Appreciate
you're
your time
welcome.
and
Oh, well, you actually caught me at a good time. Like, literally caught me at a really good time, right?
everything.
So, I'm like, what? So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's awesome. I really appreciate that. And, where I'm at.
Oh,
Any,
of course. Absolutely.
any last words, Thomas, at all?
That's it. I appreciate everything you've done, especially the past readings you've given me in the past. Those really helped me with my walk. So I'm grateful for that as well. Of course, you'll always expect to see me in the future. There's going to be
That's
a
awesome.
returning customer.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. And for those of you out there, you can also follow me on Instagram, Jenny G Cousins, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the button here to the channel to get notifications about videos and so on. And I'm all over the place. Like, I'm literally all over social media. So all you need to do is just put in my name, and you will find me in many places. So thank you again, Thomas, and keep on keeping on. And make sure you guys, and also Thomas, like, just really, really follow what you're drawn to, pull towards, and what you're passionate about. Because when we do follow what we're passionate about, we can find our purpose, like our soul's purpose and destiny and calling and so on and so on, no matter what it is. You don't need to defend yourself to anybody for the work you're doing or what lifestyle you choose. That's up to you. So,
Right.
alrighty.
Alrighty.
Thank you again, Thomas.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.